It's amazing how many times the things you love is also the thing you hate. And very often the difference between those opposite feelings depends on how you look at it. Like this drawing of an old queen. Would you believe me if I told you there was a drawing of the queen when she was a young princess in this same drawing? Can you see it? All you have to do is change your perspective to see something different. How about now? Do you see the young princess? She was always there. You just had to look at it from a different perspective. After almost 50 years on this earth, it is very clear to me that there is a very thin line between love and hate. While they are very different emotions, love and hate have an awful lot in common, especially in terms of intensity. Catalyst, a Latin poet, is credited with introducing the love-hate theme into Western culture with his famous lines, "I hate and yet love." You may wonder how I manage it. I don't know, but feel it happen and I am in torment. Wow, that definitely sounds like one of my previous relationships. I mean, come on, I can't be the only one that had a love-hate relationship. Never mind. Okay, how about this? We can all relate to Rick Rule's words that he loves hate, and that there isn't a commodity as loved and hated like silver. Earlier this week, I was just scrolling through YouTube, and as I passed over all these ridiculous and inflammatory thumbnails of crazy price predictions and overhyped topics of doom and gloom, I remember saying to myself, this is why people end up hating silver. So I decided to come up with my top 5 reasons why silver is such a hated investment, which ironically makes it a potentially loved investment. Number 5, volatility. We just have to accept that silver prices can be incredibly volatile and fluctuate for reasons which aren't always clear. Before you say manipulation, hold on, I'll cover that in a moment. The problem with these price swings is that to the unsophisticated investor, that feels like risk. So instead of staying long, too many people find themselves buying high and selling low over and over again. Number 4, market manipulation. I place the blame for this one on the so-called professionals that refuse to acknowledge that the market is not any more manipulated than any other financial market. Notice that the biggest screamers of market manipulation are those that are trying to sell you metals. A while back, I played a clip from my Uncle Rick Rule where he was very clear that silver is manipulated, but not any more than any other financialized market. He also shared this quote-unquote manipulation occurs at the top, like in the 70s, as well as the bottoms of markets, because manipulators can only push the market the direction it's already moving. Jeffrey Christian, love or hate him, has the same position and has the data to prove it. If that isn't good enough for you, Keith Weiner, CEO of Monetary Metals, spent thousands of dollars analyzing terabytes of market trades to prove that there isn't manipulation. Instead, it was all about the banks making money on the arbitrage between millions of trades. Not a single person in the industry has come out and challenged Keith's assertions or his research. Silver market manipulation is like the boogeyman or chupacabra or Bigfoot or whatever fake monster you want to pick. Please don't get all in my comments talking about JP Morgan and spoofing conviction. Those things did happen, but it's not even close enough to really move the markets long term. Number 3, disregarding historic performance. Again, the same so-called professionals or snake oil salesmen that scream about market manipulation also push unreasonable price projections. I really break it down in this video, which you really should watch. I will link to it at the end. But take a screenshot of this slide and look at the silver price projection based on various gold to silver ratios. As an example, if you believe silver will go to $500, that means the GSR would have to go to 16-1 and gold would need to reach $7,000. Do you really think gold will reach $7,000 during this bull market? Do you really think the GSR will really reach 16-1? Why? Because of these same promoters say that the ratio in the Earth's crust is what determines its ratio? Come on, y'all. Since when does ratio on the ground dictate the price of something? There are much more scarce elements that are worth less because they don't have any utility. Not to mention supply and demand. Look at this slide of the GSR since 1971. Only once has this ratio gone below 25-1 in 1980. But we're supposed to believe it's going to happen again based on one previous data point 46 years ago? Again, who are the people pushing these narratives? The same people that tell you to order the metals from their company, that the system is going to collapse, which has been the narrative for more than 30 years. Silver has done exactly what it is supposed to do, just like it's done over and over time, just like gold. We don't need the hype. Silver and gold never change. It's only the dollar that changes. Number 2, bad data. Trying to get your head around the silver market is like nailing jello to the wall. This is why all the hypers and promoters get away with pushing all these narratives. In comparison, gold is very simple. Most of the gold produced still exists in some recoverable form, and only a small amount has been lost to industrial application. When it comes to silver, we know at least half gets used up in industrial applications with very limited secondary recovery. On top of that, we have some organizations like the Silver Institute that count investor demand in their overall supply and demand numbers, while others don't. Personally, I don't think it should be counted because investor demand fluctuates, especially as prices go higher. How many of us are buying less silver now compared to when silver is at $20? Not to mention, Investor demand doesn't make the silver go to silver heaven. It goes into our safe where it can be recovered for the right price. Another challenge with data is around 16% of silver supply comes from silver mining. In fact, most of the silver comes from actually copper, lead, and zinc mining. So if we need tons more of copper, for example, what are we going to find with that copper? More silver, which will increase supply. How much? That's the problem. Who knows? There are lots of other examples of bad data when it comes to silver, but I'll stop here. Number one, promoters and my peers. This is my number one because nothing drives me crazier than the big name promoters and my peers who propagate the same talking points because they refuse to do their research and learn what is really going on in the market. Instead, they're like night walkers selling themselves for your clicks and attention. I don't need to say names because you all know them and you even watch them, which isn't the issue. The issue is them pushing bad information and narratives that result in unreasonable expectations. Please remember this quote: unrealistic expectations probably sabotage more financial plans than any other form of illiteracy. Unrealistically high expectations will have you take on unnecessary and unreasonable risk, like the person on Reddit who took out a second mortgage to buy silver when Eagles were going for about $40 in 2021. One of the keys to being a successful investor is establishing your expectations independently and comparing that to the facts or the truth of the situation and the market. It's these unrealistic expectations that lead to hate, and nothing is more powerful when it comes to finance or romance than hate. Please, let's just allow silver to be silver and let it do what it's always done. Serve as a hedge against inflation, a diversifier of your assets, potential long-term growth vehicle, and real money, regardless of its volatility. In the comment section, give one reason why you love silver as an investor. Give one reason why you think people hate silver. Or simply put an A+ in the comments so that everyone knows that you always stack smarter and never stop learning. Okay, that ends the educational content for today's video. Now we're going to shift to the sponsor portion of the video, which is actually a follow-up to a CEO interview I did a while back with Troy Basoli from ATHA Energy. My interview with Troy might be one of my favorites because of his comfort and confidence. I mean, given ATHA's current situation, heck, I'd probably be just as comfortable and confident as he was. As a quick reminder, ATHA is a uranium explorer with literally the largest land package in the Athabasca Basin, which is like the mecca of uranium, and the Theon Basin as well. Here's a list of the reasons why I believe Troy was so comfortable and confident. As the saying goes, Troy has been there and done that. He's done it with NextGen and with Chemical, where he was the chief geologist and led to more than 50 million pounds of uranium being discovered. His team is phenomenal, and their pedigrees include some of the best companies. Between the Athabasca Basin and the Theon Basin, they have more than 8 million acres of land. Earlier this year, ATHA gobbled up 92E and Latitude Uranium along with those assets. They have around 50 million in the bank, which is completely unheard of in the exploration world, no debt, and they're scheduled to invest more than $40 million in exploration just this year. And one of the projects that they're drilling, the Angelac project, already has 40 million pounds because it was previously drilled in 2011, 12, and 13 by the previous owner, and then Fukushima happened. You know how that goes. It's safe to say that ATHA likes to do things large, like the largest land package, largest cash position for an explorer, and embarked on the largest ever exploration program. Like I said, if I was Troy, I would have been very comfortable and confident as well. So I know he's just scratching his head wondering why the market cap is around $130 million and the stock price is around 50 cents when they raised $60 million at $1 a share. And that means there's at least 40% underpriced. Nothing makes this point like this table that compares ATHA to its peers and the difference in market cap. I mean, I have to imagine that this gives Troy, the CEO, real brain pain when he tries to understand what's going on. I get it. I mean, in some real ways, this is to be expected given the Lassonde curve and how the value of the company changes depending on where they are in the process. This diagram from ATHA suggests that they are about to start climbing that curve, and I'm sure having more than 40 million pounds in your back pocket doesn't hurt. We can see that they have placed NextGen with a share value of $6, while ATHA is around 50 cents. Now, the disparity is similar to what my college football coach used to say about me. Stout, that was my nickname. He would say, Stout, you got a lot of potential. Did you know that potential is a French word for you ain't done bleep yet? This is what makes ATHA an interesting play. This year, they are putting $40 million into the drill bit to determine if they, like what my coach said, are about potential or are they the real deal. If you made it this far, this is where your patience will be rewarded. If you made it this far, this is where your patience shall be rewarded. Because I think this is like the most important reason for me to do this update. On May 2nd, 8 Capital released their initial coverage of ATHA, where they set a price target for the stock of $3, which is a 300% gain from here. Here's the part that really piqued my interest. They wrote, quote, "We believe there isn't an actual true peer comparison for ATHA, and ATHA will likely become a takeout candidate. Larger producers that have curtailed their exploration budgets for years or developers looking for the next leg of growth could be possible suitors." We all know when you buy Explorer, you have to adjust your timeline to 5 to 10 years. But if there's a potential for a takeover, that is typically done as a premium in our favor. Now, it's more complicated than that, but the point is, it changes the investment time horizon, and I love that aspect. If you're interested in some exposure to uranium with tremendous upside, I encourage you to check them out by clicking on the link in the description. And if you want an even deeper dive, I'm going to link to my interview with ATHA CEO Troy Bajoli right here. Thank you again to ATHA Energy, OTC ticker SASKF.